High IQ doesn't look like what most people think. It isn't always about solving complex equations on a chalkboard or winning Nobel Prizes. If you relate to even two of the things we're about to discuss, your brain likely works on a different frequency than the average person. And the last trait is the one nobody talks about, yet it is arguably the most defining characteristic of all. For many, high IQ looks a lot more like a quiet, internal chaos. If you have ever felt a strange sense of mental restlessness, as if your brain is a high-performance engine stuck in a traffic jam, you are already touching the edges of this reality. You might find yourself constantly bored in situations where everyone else seems perfectly content, or you might feel deeply misunderstood by those around you, even when you're trying your best to connect. Most people assume that being highly intelligent makes life easier, but the truth is that it often makes life significantly more complex. To understand this, we first have to reframe what high IQ actually means. In our culture, we tend to equate intelligence with academic success or professional prestige. We think of the straight A student or the wealthy CEO. But high IQ, at its psychological core, is simply a measure of high-level problem-solving, rapid pattern recognition, and the ability to handle abstract concepts. It is not a guarantee of a high GPA, and it certainly isn't a guarantee of confidence or social grace. In fact, many people with high IQs struggle in traditional school systems because the pace is too slow or the curriculum lacks depth. They aren't always the most successful people in the room because success often requires a level of conformity that their brains naturally resist. High IQ psychology is about how you experience the world. It changes the way you process a sunset, the way you interpret a political debate, and the way you perceive your own failures. It is a fundamental shift in the resolution of your reality, and that is where the psychology gets truly interesting. This brings us to the first major trait: constant mental activity, or what many call inner noise. A high IQ mind rarely, if ever, shuts off. While most people can sit in a room and simply be, a person with high cognitive processing is constantly scanning, analyzing, and deconstructing their environment. This isn't a choice. It's an automatic function of how their neurons are wired. This often manifests as overthinking, but it's important to realize that overthinking isn't a sign of weakness in this context. It's excessive pattern processing. Your brain is trying to find the connection between the conversation you had 3 days ago and the book you're reading today. You find yourself replaying conversations, not just to obsess over social cues, but to analyze the underlying logic of what was said. You are constantly predicting outcomes, imagining the best case and worst case scenarios for every decision. This leads to a persistent state of mental exhaustion. It is the reason why many highly intelligent people struggle with sleep. Their brains are still trying to solve the world's problems at 3 in the morning. This leads to a specific kind of burnout that isn't caused by overwork, but by the sheer volume of internal data being processed every second. And this constant need for processing leads directly into the second trait: chronic boredom with simple life. High IQ brains crave complexity the way a body craves oxygen. They need input that is dense, challenging, and novel. This is why routine jobs, repetitive tasks, and shallow small talk feel physically draining to them. It isn't that they think they are too good for these things. It's that their brain isn't receiving enough stimulation to stay engaged. When a brain that is built for high-speed computation is forced to perform low-level tasks, it starts to eat itself. This is frequently misunderstood by outsiders. Teachers might see a gifted child as lazy because they won't finish a simple worksheet. Managers might see a brilliant employee as having a lack of motivation because they struggle with administrative paperwork. In reality, the brain is simply starving. This boredom is a survival signal, but when it isn't addressed, it can turn into a profound sense of stagnation. This lack of stimulation often turns into something darker, leading to the third trait. Highly intelligent people have a higher risk of anxiety and existential stress. High IQ people are more conscious of uncertainty. A person with good pattern recognition recognizes the long-term effects of every action, whereas others can live in the now. They perceive economic, environmental, and personal systems as fragile. They recognize meaning gaps, when our life tales don't match the universe. This causes existential anxiety, a continuous questioning of life's meaning and wasted potential. They worry about whether their life improves the world as well as their bills. This is too much to handle. Anxiety quickly follows directionlessness. Mental weight can paralyze you when you can see 10 moves ahead on the chessboard, but don't know which game to play. How do high IQ persons handle this intensity? They rarely do it in healthy ways. Fourth, escapism and atypical coping techniques dominate. When life is too slow, shallow, or complicated, the high IQ mind seeks refuge in controlled or profound situations. This sometimes appears as overconsumption, reading Wikipedia rabbit holes or studying obscure historical events for hours. It often involves deep immersion in gaming, fantasy, or fiction. Complexity, logic, and constant stimulation characterize these digital or literary realms. The brain may run at maximum speed without social friction in this safe environment, but this can also lead to unhealthy escapism. High IQ doesn't prevent self-destruction. It may help rationalize it. They may rationalize harmful habits or intellectualize feelings instead of feeling them. They view life as an abstract puzzle to be solved rather than a living experience. Their external lives reflect their internal complexity, especially in the sixth attribute, social difficulty. Emotional intelligence is often thought to be poor with high IQ. Not necessarily. Many smart people are sensitive and know others' sentiments. A communication mismatch, not a lack of feeling, is the issue. Many high IQ persons think faster than a conversation. They may end a tale before the other person finishes the second sentence. Because they already know the conversation, they get bored mid-talk. This makes them appear awkward, chilly, or haughty. They may over-explain to be precise or under-explain because they presume the other person has made the same mental jumps. Different communication tempos. Imagine playing a symphony with someone who only wants to keep a 4/4 beat. The player with the complicated score quits. Thus, many eventually adopt the sixth trait, using solitude as fuel rather than loneliness. Many high IQ people can only hear themselves think while alone. Social connection, albeit vital, takes tremendous downshifting and masking. Translating your complex interior reality into socially acceptable form is exhausting. For profound thinking, creativity, and self-analysis, solitude promotes mental clarity. The distinction between loneliness and purposeful isolation is huge. High IQ people find a sanctuary where others see a loner. This comes with a warning. Too much seclusion can lead to avoidance. The world is frustrating and people are slow, so it's simple to escape into literature and thoughts. Lack of external friction stales ideas. Highly bright people must combine isolation to recharge and social connection to stay human. Most significant discovery? The high IQ paradox. This is fundamental psychology. High intelligence increases grandeur and pain. You understand the world, predict trends, and imagine incredible possibilities. Mistrust, overthinking mistakes, and self-sabotage are simpler. The gap between your existing and potential self is noticeable. Average IQ people may be pleased with their lives, but high IQ people feel that they're not using their hardware enough. Problem-solving, development, and invention might feel like a heavy chain. Life is deeper with high IQ. It colors and shapes your experiences and weighs your shoulders. If you identify with these traits, remember that intelligence should be guided, not praised. Without a dam or conduit, raw intelligence floods the land. Highly intelligent people need structure. Create creative labor or complex systems from complexity. Boredom kills motivation, so they can't use it. Engagement force systems are needed. Externalizing your thinking helps high IQ persons. Due to loud inner noise, your ideas must be written or exhibited. Writing, outlining, and mapping reduces working memory and helps you spot patterns. You need a social plan. Search for depth-compatible people instead of normal. You simply need 2 or 3 friends who can keep up and don't mind when you skip small talk to discuss the universe's heat, death, or game theory. Overall, your brain is useful. Powerful even. An effective, high-resolution device could assist you navigate or make you feel completely alone. High IQ psychology involves acknowledging that your operating system is different, not better than others. Stop trying to fit your high-speed mind into a low-speed environment to reduce anxiety. You see your restlessness as a sign of readiness for the next task. Rather than failure, you use solitude to develop your next big idea. Mastering intellect starts with understanding these traits. Too familiar with which trait? Constant mental chatter, strange solitude, or existential boredom? Everyone sees these, but high IQ people make them commonplace. Nodding along to this breakdown is not a unique worldview. To master the gift of intelligence takes a lifetime. Linking to many points? Comment thinker. We should examine high IQ minds' realities, not myths.